Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Soul Diving Sunday show featuring transformational life coach Shelley Wizen and your hosts Lisa and Nancy. Welcome everyone today. So excited to chat with Shelley. You know, she was on earlier on Big Blend Radio talking about gratitude. Well, gratitude goes hand in hand with giving and receiving. And that's what we're talking about. You know, November is that season of giving, and we think about Thanksgiving, but it should be more than just one day, I believe. I think this is a good time to remember about giving and then hopefully just do it every day in some way, right? So, how are you doing, Shelley? I heard you were just up in Washington State doing some workshops, hosting some workshops.
Yes, my co-trainer and I, Ronnie Foster, we taught a class. It was called Everything You Need to Know When a Loved One Goes on Hospice.
Oh, wow.
And it was really a wonderful experience. And that's what we wanted to offer as an experience. Speak about giving. I mean, when you give an experience to someone, to me, that's the most beautiful thing we could possibly give. And we're giving experiences to everyone all the time. It's what kind of experiences we're giving.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We don't want ones that, you know, give us trauma for the rest of our lives. You know, we don't want that. But the giving, and it's
Yeah,
important to focus on, like, so this is where gratitude goes in hand in
yeah,
hand. We need to recognize and acknowledge it and not forget it. Because when someone teaches you, and we were just talking about this at the very end of the gratitude podcast with Glenn Burrows, he closed off the show, and we were talking about travel. You go somewhere and that fills your soul forever. You cannot put monetary value on an experience or a skill that you've learned from somebody. That can get you through life. Those life lessons, right?
absolutely.
There's no dollar value at all.
Absolutely. Giving is giving is a gift in itself.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yes.
gift of giving. You get to get the gift and you get to give the gift.
Mm,
So it's a gift, it's a gift that's built into one thing, which is
mm,
giving. But the other side of giving is receiving.
mm-hmm.
And so they're equally as important, giving and
Receiving can be
receiving.
difficult sometimes.
Yes, even more
What is
difficult
that?
than giving sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got a great article, and everyone, it's linked in the episode notes, or just go to blendradioandtv.com. Just type in giving and Shelley and you'll find it. Um, you talk about the power of giving and what it does to our actual bodies. We get the love hormone. Ooh.
That love hormone, that
Mm.
oxytocin, man. I mean,
Not
you know,
Oxycontin.
no,
No.
not Oxycontin, but it's an oxy nonetheless. It's one of the oxy, the good oxy. And the thing is, when we think a thought that feels good, we
Mm-hmm.
can emit that hormone, that love
Mm,
hormone. The brain secretes that love hormone. It goes throughout the whole body and it just feels yummy, delicious.
mm.
I always say yummy,
Ah.
delicious because you can have a yummy, delicious experience in a lot of different things when you are aware of what you're bringing to the table. What
Mm,
are you bringing to the table of your life? And we emphasize a lot in our society on giving. We say
mm-hmm.
it, right? Giving is good and you ought to do it. And, when you give to somebody else, you're actually putting somebody else as the focus. Sometimes when we're depressed, when we give our time to somebody and, just be with somebody else to help somebody else, it takes our minds off ourselves and we feel a little better about ourselves. It's kind of
Yeah.
like the giving and receiving is built into the action.
Mm. They say a lot of times we've done a lot in regards to pet wildlife, animal rescue, and you know nature things. You know that about us. And I remember doing an interview with our late great friend Adam Roberts, and we were talking about compassion for animals and how people will just take in one animal at the other, take in elder dogs. People don't care. It's like, oh, they're an old dog. We only want puppies, you know. And there are some people that just go out and take dogs like that, or dogs that are disabled, or cats, you know, you get the drift. And he said, you know, from all of his work, he found out as he volunteers and everything that most of the people doing all this in some way have been hurt in their own life or shunned or some kind of traumatic thing. And it makes them feel better because it's reinforcing that they're not like that. And they're trying to make the world a better place because they've seen the hell side or experienced the hell. So they want the good. And so they know you can't just hold the good for yourself. You can't just take it and like, be a squirrel and shove nuts in your, your cheeks, because eventually they're going to burst, right? So you have to share. And that was his thing. It's like, when you give it off that it has a ripple effect of good, and you can't even quantify it,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. And volunteering, I mean, that's what hospice workers do. They
Mm,
volunteer their time to go be with people who are dying. That's
yeah.
their
Wow.
role, and that's their giving. Their
Wow.
giving is the ability to hold the space for that to happen in the most beautiful way.
And be present for that
Be
person.
present, a hundred
Not
percent,
play a game on your phone, be
a
present.
100% present. Yeah,
Wow. That's a gift in itself to
it
both.
is a true gift. Yeah,
Mm. Well,
yeah, that's
speaking of yummy delicious too, that brings me to your book. What do you bring to the table? And I think, in this time of year, we're already looking at what are we making for Thanksgiving, for the holidays, no matter what you celebrate, right? And Diwali happened on Halloween this year. And
I
I think
heard.
Diwali is one of the most amazing holidays. It's the most, talk about yummy, delicious. But I know you love to cook. You've got wonderful recipes. Your book is not just recipes, it's like recipes for life. But if you know somebody, like you've got that wonderful chocolate cake, always go to the chocolate cake recipe. But you
Yeah,
know someone who loves chocolate cake and you really want to boost their happiness or celebrate something for them, out of all your recipes in your book, you're probably going to go do that chocolate cake for the person who loves chocolate, right? And you're like,
mm-hmm,
oh, I'm going to make it extra special. And maybe they
mm-hmm,
love dogs. So I'm going to do it in the shape of a dog. You know what
mm-hmm,
I mean? So when you go those extra steps of letting someone know that you know who they are and
mm-hmm,
recognize and see them.
mm-hmm.
So cooking is that, isn't it, too? Is like, oh, I know that they love cheese. Well, what do I have? Yeah, what do
Right.
you have for cheese?
Well, I have the garlic bread grilled cheese sandwich in my book.
Oh, seriously.
Not
N-
everything is
Uh,
100% healthy. I'm going to admit
that
that.
doesn't matter. It's
But you
yummy
know what?
delicious. That's
Sometimes right. It's
and you're
yummy.
getting the
Delicious.
love hormone, so that's
That's right.
happy.
Exactly.
Mm.
So you're
Ooh.
feeling good when you eat it anyway. So
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
a great idea. You just gave me a great idea. For the holidays, I'm going to make the chocolate cake and gift the book to someone.
Ooh, I
And
like
that'd be
that.
a great idea. If you want to do
Hmm.
something really special, get the book,
Hmm.
make the
Bake
chocolate
something.
or something out of it and give them the
Uh-huh.
book and the thing,
Because
the
it's
item.
giving the experience. You're
Right,
teaching skills.
right,
That's the part of it is do a
right.
skill, make something. Do you have cookies in there?
I have banana chocolate chip muffins. I don't have
Oh,
cookies.
see that, but those are, yeah, those are those little things that you can put in a nice
Yeah,
little tin and
yeah,
decorate it up, you know?
exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
And I think also you've got great recipes like the salad. I love the salad, the
Yeah,
Mediterranean salad, the Mike's Mighty Mediterranean
yes, yes,
salad for those who are health conscious, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Who
then
are
there's
you
the
out there? No, I'm
butternut
kidding.
squash ginger carrot soup.
Ooh,
That
see?
has
Ooh.
21 ingredients. And you know what? When you taste it, you can taste the nuance
Mm.
of all of those.
Well,
Just
I just learned how
fabulous.
to make butternut
Mm,
squash and I used ginger in it and it was absolutely delicious. But
yeah,
so if someone is feeling not so well, that's a really good thing to go and make them as
beautiful.
soup. Come on, that is like old school giving. It's you're giving more of your time than your wallet.
Right. That's right. When you
Yeah.
make, see, I have a big pot of soup. It's like this big, big.
Wow.
And so when I make a soup, I call them instinct soups. Most of the time I make it in that big pot and then I divvy it up. I buy those giveaway containers and
Yeah.
I pack them all up and give those away.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
I keep
Because
some
people
in the
can freeze
freezer
them.
and I give
Yeah,
away. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
smart. That's smart.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the giving and receiving. So, as you know, and you did a wonderful, um, it was not a podcast, but you did a message of support for victims of Hurricane Helene. When this happened, we got together with our friend Steve and Karen from the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, and got together and said, we got to do something. And they were like, we need music. We need to do something. They barely had any signal. So we worked together and got musicians and authors and poets and
Did a
folks
great.
like you to come in, and we played music. And it's still out there, everyone. If you go to blendradioandtv.com, and you'll see Shelly in there talking about going through loss as well with your house with the earthquake. And you know that we went through the earthquake in the same place, Northridge, but it was in the 70s. So we've been through the same cycle. And when you go through those things, it's devastating, but there is a rebirth, and you got to focus on that. So we started a podcast every week to keep people up to date what's going on in Asheville, but so many states are, I can't even,
Yeah.
being in the Southeast and knowing the regions, it's really, really devastating. So our friends are doing all this. They're helping. They went to fundraisers. They were baking for people when they could. They took their water to bake for others that needed it. I mean, then they're going through the hell part, which is called insurance companies. And are you really going to get help from FEMA? So they're going through that part. And then they found out, well, this is not help. They have a historic bed and breakfast. It's a Victorian, the very first B&B in their historic neighborhood. And nothing is working on time to get them to be able to be open, even the water.
Oh.
Insurance companies are giving them a runaround.
Oh.
And she says, I hate to say this, but do you think a GoFundMe will help? And I said, it can't hurt. Every bit that can help you guys get back on your feet can. And there's no shame in what has happened. You haven't run your business to the ground. You have a historic building. It's a Victorian from 1898. It's got the original windows and the original stained glass, and there's so much damage. And she just goes, well, I feel weird asking for this kind of help. And I said, well, you've got to think, all of us, like, I can't stand it. I want to go and build it, feel horrible and want to do something to help, and it's a process, and it just went live, and people are already starting to help. And she messaged me, she's like, I can't believe our guests are helping. And she's in tears, but it's tears of joy. And
Beautiful.
you know what I mean? So it's yeah, I mean, even I'm trying not to, tear up
That's
here.
the receiving part. That's why the receiving part is
Mm.
equally as important as the giving part, and sometimes harder to do, because and she's in the giving business, she's got a B&B, she's
Yeah.
giving her guests comfort and
Yeah.
support and whatever, a beautiful environment and food and whatever she's giving.
She's a mama, and he does that too. I mean, it's like he cooks for them, and he makes
Yeah.
the beer, and he can't make beer because they don't have the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
so the receiving being
yeah.
flipping the role.
Right. But without a receiver, where would the giver be?
Mm,
And see,
right.
it's allowing that cycle. That's what the cycle is. Cycle of giving, receiving is a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Goes like
Mm,
this, and it keeps going like that, and
mm-hmm.
back and forth and back and forth. And so it's built into the act of giving and receiving. When you receive, you're allowing the giver to give.
Yeah, yeah.
When we don't receive, it's like, no, don't give me love. Don't love me. Don't show me you care. Don't appreciate me. I mean, and then we walk around feeling unappreciated. It's like, well,
Yeah.
hello,
We
receive,
put the walls up. Yeah.
receive it. Let somebody love you up.
Yeah.
Let somebody love you up.
Yeah.
And that's not always the easiest thing to do, especially if you're used to giving.
That's interesting. Yeah, because they are
It's easier to give
incredibly.
to you. Let me give to you. Let me give to you. But
Mm-hmm.
receiving back is sometimes harder for the giver that's used to,
Yeah. It's so much better if we all just do that.
Yeah. It'd
And
be
I
more
don't think,
natural.
I
It'd be
mean, I
more
love
natural.
Thanksgiving and what it represents in regards to giving. I don't want to get into the history of it because that gets kind of wonky. But the giving part, that's why I say it shouldn't take big disasters and a holiday to get us to do it. But sometimes it is. If we need a reminder, we need a reminder, right?
Why do we have Father's Day? Why do we have Mother's Day? Why do we have Christmas? It's like a reminder to give.
Hey, we're recording this on National Chocolate Day. I'm just telling you.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
want that cake.
Get some chocolate. Go make a chocolate cake in
Yeah,
honor of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
But
up for that.
these are reminders.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we look
Yeah.
at that.
And they're beautiful reminders. I mean,
Mhm,
Thanksgiving, what are we doing? We're giving thanks. That's coming
mhm,
up around the corner. It's hard sometimes to focus, or maybe we think it's hard. I'll put it that way because I don't want to impose a belief on anybody. And maybe it's not hard. Maybe we just
mhm,
think it's hard to be able to give when the world is kind of
mhm.
crumbling and people aren't being nice to each other, not playing nice in the sandbox.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that's when, you can't, Nancy always talks about if your fists are closed like that,
Right.
you can't give or receive. If you open your palms, you can
That's
give
right.
and receive. And the more we keep our fists closed, that's when the anger and the walls start to get built up.
Yeah.
And then we don't have harmony.
And what does that mean? It means we're not receiving, we're not allowing something to come to us, or we're not
Hmm.
allowing something to come from us. We're
Yeah.
living in our own little world, and so it gets a little lonely in there,
That's not fun.
you know? No, it's not.
No,
Not
that's not
fun.
fun. No, it's
More
not fun.
fun to play,
Do you-
go play in the playground with the people you love and
yeah.
enjoy your life and have an experience together.
And okay, so before you go, I want to touch on this. So Thanksgiving table, families coming together. Thank goodness it's after elections, but it could still, people can have
Oh
the
boy.
drama. So I would like to ask you two things. Do you have any family traditions of going around giving thanks about things? And two, can you remind everybody about people are just humans? Nancy's been saying this. She's like, oh, people are just human. We're just being
Huh?
human. And she's
Right,
like, I'm just being human. Leave me alone.
right, right. Well, in
So
a way,
can you
it's
touch on
true,
that? Because
you
it's
know?
important.
Yeah, it's important because, first of all, when we realize such an important thing you just said, when we realize that we are human, we are all human, that is the
Mhm.
one thing that unites us. You
Mm,
cannot argue.
yeah.
You're not a human. I'm a human. You're not a human.
Well, I could be part alien. So
It could be, but for the most part, in mass consciousness, the way mass
yes.
consciousness is set up, we have an agreement that you're human and I'm human.
Yeah.
So when we approach each other from one human being to another and stop the roles or the colors or the races or the genders or religions or any
Mm,
of that, just cut it out.
political parties. Yeah.
Just talk to one another from one human being experience to another human being
Mm,
experience. Because I
yeah.
believe that we are a soul having a human experience,
Mm,
not the other way around. We're not a human having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual having a human experience. We
mm.
chose to come into this physical world, this 3D world, to experience something.
And eat cake and grilled cheese
Eat
sandwiches with,
cake and garlic bread, grilled cheese
oh.
sandwiches, and oh my God. And there's a turkey meatloaf in there too. But the book, let's just go back to the book because the book is really what you said. It's about life lessons.
Mm,
It's about energy. It's about how we relate to each other from one human being to another. It's about taking a moment and having a happy, mindful meditation before you go into the kitchen and cook. Maybe you're rushed, maybe you're this, maybe you're that. How do you bring your energy and what are you going to bring? That's why what do you bring to the table? What do you give? You could use give or bring. Those are
I
interchangeable.
like that.
And so what is it that you're giving when you're having an experience in the kitchen, for
Hmm.
instance? How are you approaching your meal? Are you resentful? Are you hurried for time and you just want to get through it? There's energy in that.
Ooh.
That's not oxytocin,
Yeah,
by the
we
way.
want the oxy. We want the
We
love
want the
hormone.
oxytocin that feels good. So when you're
Mm,
cooking, that loving energy is being infused into what you're doing and the food that you're eating,
mm.
you
And
know?
and and especially if you're giving as well. You don't want to give
Totally.
people food made with like, here's your damn sandwich.
Exactly.
That doesn't feel good.
Exactly.
I don't want
Yeah,
to eat it after that because it's like, no, what did you do to
exactly.
it? Like, what did you
Right.
put in?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's all about how we are as human beings, what's the journey of being human, and there those I call them happy mindful meditations, just because you take 1 or 2 minutes out of the moment of what you're doing, rushing from here to there. Sometimes we don't stop and have
Mm,
an in-between space long enough
all
to
right.
even pause from one experience to another. It's just like one run-in experience of life instead of savoring what we just did and then taking a pause and getting into the next experience. You know,
Mm,
it's just one run on, it's like a run-on sentence.
exactly. Well, it's cyclical. It's
Mhm.
that I love that we always talk about those cycles because that's really what life is about. It's all cycles. Seasons are
Totally.
cycles,
Yeah.
you know. And I think it's kind of interesting because we do Thanksgiving in this time where we're giving, giving, giving. It kind of signals that joy, and then winter, we're kind of is a reflective time before it gets crazy busy again. I mean, some people live a different kind of lifestyle, but winter is that
Hibernating.
peace, peace, reflection, hibernate, You can take the squirrels out, the nuts out of your mouth, squirrels. It's like get those
Yeah.
acorns out of there,
Got enough. You got enough.
So yeah, I had to be careful how I said that.
Right.
But but
I didn't do it this time. I didn't
I
say
know it. Hey, I could not like
I didn't do
even
it.
I can't help it. It's fun.
Here, did
Um,
I say that, did I give you this tidbit of information about giving? It's regarding what happens to the changing of the colors of the leaves. Did I
mm,
talk about that?
talk about it. Talk about it. You talked about that last month, but I think it's really
I think
pertinent.
it's interesting here because see, you have a tree that has a giving and a receiving element to it.
Yeah, that's a cycle. This tree of life is circular,
The tree
right?
itself is, has its own, it's a self-sustaining thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it 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 receives sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gives nourishment to the leaves, chlorophyll, whatever, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
when the seasons change, the leaves give back the chlorophyll to the tree so
Yeah.
the tree can survive the winter. If that's not
Awesome.
a, oh, beautiful
But
cycle of
then
giving and
they
receiving.
fall down and
Yeah,
then they mulch the tree roots, right?
right.
And please, everyone, stop raking your leaves. It's better for the environment if you don't, and for fireflies because they nest in there.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, just didn't.
Yeah,
Well, no, because see, that's the cycle of life, right?
exactly.
Things live in there, and I understand you may need to do your walkway and things like that, but let things. That's nature's blanket. You're
Right.
taking her blankie away. She doesn't want that. She wants to make everything nice and cozy. And so that's what, so when the leaves go all the way around, then they eventually become mulch, which again helps the earth and that helps topsoil. So
Love
that's
it.
the full cycle. So Thanksgiving, yeah, so reflective time. And then it's like, ooh, it's time to go outside. The sun is out. Um, when you talk about Thanksgiving, and do you, as a family, have any traditions where you give thanks? Do you go around the table and do that kind of thing? So, because I know you've got young ones in your family too.
Yes, we actually do that. We go around the table and everybody says what they're thankful for.
Mm.
And maybe it was over the year, whatever, maybe it's just today, whatever. But we do that. It's nice. The kids at first they're like, but I kind of indoctrinated my grandchildren when I would take them to school and we would go, I don't know why, but we would drive past this radio tower. And
Mm.
I said, here comes the radio tower. And every time we drove by the radio tower, each one had to say what they were thankful for.
Oh, so you can broadcast it.
Right. So we would drive up and everybody would say what they were thankful for. And it was so
Mm.
sweet
It's a
because they knew it was
tradition.
coming. They saw the landmark.
Hmm. I love that. That's a tradition. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the beautiful thing. And then if you have, one of those Uncle Joes in the corner, just remember he's human too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when
Yeah.
we do that, we can hold the space for people to make mistakes,
Mm.
for people to be out of alignment, for people to be in a bad mood, whatever the case may be.
Mm.
As long to me, the most important thing is just be kind.
The other thing to do too with the family that may be like been arguing politically or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is. I mean, come on, families have their moments, right? I don't know a family that doesn't have their moments. Then they're just not living. There's something really hidden. Then you need to really dig into the skeleton closet. And we're past October now, so wait for next year. But the thing is, go around the table and each person gets one person, maybe the person on the left, and it goes around the circle and give each person one reason they're grateful for them. I'm grateful for you for, this year you made me the most amazing moist, and I said it, moist chocolate cake. And then the next person could go, and that person has to give the next person, oh, I'm grateful for you because you always take my calls when I really need them, that kind of thing. So
I
it
love
even gets
that.
that way, it kind of bridges the gaps of drama.
Love that.
So it makes you
around and tell everybody on your right and then go back and tell everybody on your left.
Yeah.
Depending on how many people, could take all night.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, some families are massive.
You have 20 people at Thanksgiving, it's kind of like.
But think about the dominoes, right? It would be like the domino effect. It would be a positive domino effect. I like it. I love it.
Love it.
So, well, everyone, thank you for listening because we're grateful for you. How about that? For listening. Thank you, Shelley. Always fun having these conversations and sharing positivity. And so you must make Thanksgiving yummy delicious. Thank you.
Definitely.
And everyone, what do you bring to the table? You can get that at ShelleyWhizin.com, Amazon, all those great places. And I love the idea of, if you're going to give it as a gift, make something from the book. That means you have to get two.
Yeah.
See?
That's right.
Yeah.
Get one for you and get 5, get 10. And then,
Oh, that just made me think. Giving to oneself.
Oh, that's very important.
That's something I know we've talked about, the time taking moment for yourself. We're in that busy season and we have to take time out for ourselves, give ourselves a gift. Can't we gift ourselves something?
Totally. Gift yourself an experience, whatever that experience you want, or whatever it is that you want. Gift it to yourself.
Even if it's 5 minutes of alone time a day, that's a crucial one.
Totally.
Everybody needs that. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Just keep giving. Just give.
Enjoy and receive. And receive and joy.
Yes.
Enjoy the receiving.
Palms out.
Yeah.
I like the palms out. Very cool. Everyone, again, ShelleyWhizin.com. Thank you. Behave yourself, but don't. Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Soul Diving Sunday show featuring transformational life coach Shelley Whizin. Follow Shelley at ShelleyWhizin.com. Follow us at BigBlendRadio.com.